Hello, good evening, my dear students. Today we are going to study about the difference that is existing between the flexible plate and rigid plate. Here we can see for clay soils, whenever we can expect this flexible plate resting over the soil subgrade or the base course. Here you will be finding the deflection is going to be maximum at the center, and the deflection is almost zero at the edges, and there will be a uniform contact pressure throughout under the flexible plate. Whenever the wheel load is going to be acting, the deflection is going to be maximum at the center, and the contact pressure will be uniform throughout under the soil mass. But if we try to consider here in the rigid plate, this is a rigid plate. Whenever a wheel load is going to be acting over the rigid plate, the deflection is going to be uniform under the rigid plate, but whereas the contact pressure that is exerted in the soil mass is going to be maximum at the edges but a minimum at the center. See, at this particular central section of the rigid plate in the soil mass, the contact pressure is minimum, and at the edges the contact pressure is maximum. So whatever the two cases we had discussed, it is for the clay soil sample. The deflection is going to be maximum at the center for the flexible plate, and the contact pressure is going to be uniform throughout in the soil mass for the clay soil. But if you try to compare the rigid plate, the deflection is going to be constant throughout the section, but whereas the contact pressure is minimum at the center and maximum at the edges. And suppose let us consider for sandy soils, if the same flexible plate and rigid plate are going to be subjected to certain pressure. First of all, let us consider this flexible plate, which is going to be acting over the sandy soil. Due to the wheel load that is going to come over the flexible plate on the sandy soil, the deflection is going to be minimum at the center and the deflection is maximum at the edges. This is a maximum deflection which you can expect to see at the edges, but throughout in the sandy soil sample, the contact pressure remains to be uniform. But here in the case of rigid plate, whenever there will be a wheel load that is acting over the rigid plate condition over the sandy soil, the deflection is going to be uniform throughout under the rigid plate, whereas the contact pressure is going to be maximum at the center, and the contact pressure is going to be almost negligibly equal to zero at the edges. And again, today I am going to revise the formulas that are required for calculating the deflection of the rigid plate. Whenever the rigid plate is subjected over the soil subgrade or over the pavement surface, the delta can be calculated by this formula. Delta is equal to 1.18 small p into A divided by ES into F2, where the small p is called as the contact pressure, and small a is called as the radius of the rigid plate, and ES is modulus of elasticity of the soil subgrade, and F2 is called as the deflection factor that we had discussed in the previous slide, how this F2 could be determined with the help of the graph. Here this is the F2 value along the y-axis, this is the F2 value along the y-axis, and this is H1 upon A or H upon A along x-axis. Whatever the curves you can see in this graph, they are representing the ratio of Young's modulus of elasticity E1 upon E2 or EP upon ES. So with the help of these formula, we will be able to determine what will be the deflection that is going to be occurring under the rigid plate over the soil subgrade or over the pavement surface. So what should be the quantity that should be determined? F2 has to be found out from the graph, and we should be knowing the values of the contact pressure as well as the radius of the rigid plate, and also we must be finding out the modulus of elasticity of soil subgrade. So what will be the other formula that is required for calculating the deflection of the flexible plate? Suppose if there is any wheel load that is acting over the flexible plate, the deflection under that flexible plate could be found out by this formula: 1.15 P into A divided by ES into F2, where this particular A, specifically I'm mentioning this particular A is totally different than that A which we have seen in the case of rigid plate. This A represents radius of rigid plate in the case of a rigid plate, and this A represents the radius of the contact area for the flexible plate. And we'll get to know how we are finding out this radius of contact area in the next coming slides. Sorry my dear students, in the previous slide we had seen how we had determined the delta value on deflection on the flexible plate was by delta is equal to 1.15 in P into A divided by S into F2, but actually speaking due to typological error, instead of 1.5 I'll ask you to consider this 1.15. Please do the rectification, it is not 1.15, it is 1.5. And also in that video previously which I have uploaded in the Google Classroom, for determination of the deflection of the flexible plate, delta could be determined by not 1.15, it will be 1.5. So this was a correction that I wanted to tell you people to find it, as well as do the rectification as necessary. Today I am going to explain you about the step-by-step procedure for finding out the thickness of the pavement based on models of elasticity of the different layer by the Burmester approach. So I would like to once again highlight about the assumptions that were considered in the Burmester method. The material should be isotropic, homogeneous and linear elastic. And second assumption what we have to consider is surface layer is infinite in horizontal direction and finite in the vertical direction. And the third very important assumption what you have to remember is the Young's modulus of elasticity for different layers are different in the two-layer system, and the magnitude of Young's modulus of elasticity is going to be reducing from top to bottom. So the first step in finding out the thickness of the pavement based on models of elasticity of different layer by the Burmester approach is to find out the or to determine the modulus of soil subgrade, to determine the modulus of soil subgrade ES. So I would like to tell you the procedure of determination of this ES, how it can be done. So with the help of plate load test, it can be easily found out what will be the value of ES. So usually there is a routine practice of conducting this plate load test of a diameter 30 cm plate is going to be applied over the soil subgrade, and the soil subgrade is going to be tested for finding out the Young's modulus of elasticity ES. So if you can refer to this particular plate that has been subjected over the soil subgrade for finding out the value of ES, Young's modulus of elasticity ES, for the step number 1. Here the thickness of the flexible pavement above the soil subgrade, because here the thickness of the pavement over the soil subgrade is H is equal to 0, because we are trying to initially find out the modulus of soil subgrade. So here what will be the thickness that is coming over the soil subgrade? H is going to be considered as 0 here. So with the help of that graph which we have considered in the previous slide, we know the variabilities in the graph. Along y-axis we have F2, along x-axis we have H upon A, and we have the different curves that are representing the values of E1 upon E2. Are you able to see this? F2 along y-axis, H upon A along x-axis, these are the curves that are representing E1 upon E2. So with the help of that graph along y-axis, as you know that there is a variability of F2, and along x-axis there is a variability of H upon A, and with the help of this curves of ES upon EP, it is very clear to us that whenever the value of H is equal to 0, because the value of the thickness of the pavement over the soil subgrade H happen to be equal to 0, H upon A, that is 0 upon 15, where the A is nothing but the radius of the rigid plate. 0 upon 15 is equal to 0. So you can see and refer to this graph, when H upon A is equal to 0, obviously it is understood that E1 upon E2 is equal to also how much? E1 upon E2 is equal to 0. Okay, sorry, E1 upon E2 is not equal to 0, E1 upon E2 is equal to 1. E1 upon E2 is equal to 1. Whenever you can expect this value of H upon A is equal to 0, E1 upon E2 value is equal to 1, and thereby for E1 upon E2 value is equal to 1 as well as H upon A value is equal to 0, F2 value is also equal to 1. So with that we can just make a conclusion over here in the step number 1. For H upon A is equal to 0, ES upon EP, that is Young's modulus of elasticity of the subgrade upon Young's modulus of elasticity of the pavement is equal to 1. That means this Young's modulus of elasticity of subgrade is equal to Young's modulus of elasticity of the pavement. Okay, so from graph for H upon A value equal to 0, F2 value happen to be equal to 1. So by knowing the value of this F2 and substituting over here, you can easily able to calculate the value of delta. But what is the step number 1? We are interested to find out or determine the modulus of soil subgrade ES. So with the help of this formula that is required for determination of delta for a rigid plate, we will be able to modify this expression for finding out the value of ES. ES is equal to 1.18 P into A divided by delta into F2. So here, wherever the value of A has not been given, especially whenever this this rigid plate is going to be used in the plate load test for determination of ES, the radius of this plate can be understood as 15 centimeter, because the diameter of this plate always it will be 30 centimeter. Okay, so this would be the first step where we had found out the expression for value of this ES, expression for this ES for determination of ES. And in the second step for determination of flexible pavement by the Burmeister method, we are interested to find out the new value of F2. Previously, as we know that the value of F2 was equal to 1. So when this value of F2 is equal to 1, whenever the H upon A value happened to be equal to 0 or H is equal to 0, we had found out the value of F2 is equal to 1, or else when this H upon A is equal to 0 or F2 is equal to 1, we can consider this plate that is resting over the soil subgrade when there would be no thickness of flexible pavement over the soil subgrade. Now if we try to consider, suppose there exists certain thickness of flexible pavement, part of a flexible pavement or the component of flexible pavement over the soil subgrade with certain thickness h. From the graph which we can see, for the values of h upon a other than 0, we are going to get the value of f2 not equal to 1, it will be other than the value of 1. So if you try to consider any values of h upon a other than 0, so if you try to bisect it with e upon e1 upon e2 curve, you are going to get the values of f2 which is not equal to 1, it will be other than 1. So for that we have to find out what will be the new value of f2 due to the presence of this base course over the soil subgrade. Again we'll have to find out this particular value of f2 considering this plate load test over the base course. Okay, so this base course is having certain finite thickness over the soil subgrade. So previously in the step number 1, what was the value of h? H value was equal to 0. Presently there exists certain thickness of finite depth of base course due to which the value of h is not equal to 0, due to h is equal to h is not equal to 0, therefore h upon a is not equal to 0, hence f2 is also not equal to 1. If f2 is not equal to 1, we can find out its value by this formula, because of we know that for determination of the delta for delta for rigid plate, we have the expression delta is equal to 1.18 p into a divided by es into f2. So by just modifying this expression, we will get this value of f2 as f2 is equal to es into delta divided by 1.18 into pa. So this is a step number 2, wherein we are finding out the value of new value of f2 for the base course that is existing over the soil subgrade due to the rigid plate that is exerted over the surface of the base course, having the radius of the rigid plate as 15 centimeter. It will have certain deflection. So now we'll proceed to the third step, step number 3. So in the previous step we have found out the value of f2, and in the third step we'll also get to know what is the value of h upon a from the second step, because in the second step itself we'll know that h is not equal to 0. That's why there will be a certain value of this ratio h upon a. Along with the calculated value of f2, we have the value of f2, and also we have h upon a. So from this particular two parameters f2 as well as h upon a, we can easily determine what will be es upon ep through graph. So if you try to refer to this particular graph again, I would like to just make you people aware of what is E1 here. E1 upon E2, whatever the values that are being represented, it is just like EP upon ES. So what we require here is E1 is equal to EP, E2 is equal to ES. Now what we require here in the step number 3 is we are willing to find out what is ES upon EP. So how are you going to find out this value of ES upon EP? Just take the inverse of the values that you are going to get it for the observed values of F2 as well as H upon A. So suppose, for example, if for known value of this F2 as 0.2 and for known value of H upon A as 0.5. So somewhere here at this particular locality, 0.2 and 0.5, somewhere here you will get to know the curve that is representing 1000. What is this 1000? This 1000 according to the graph happen to be E1 upon E2 is equal to 1000, which means E1 is equal to 1000 times of E2, or else you can consider this one as EP upon ES is equal to 1000 divided by what? Or what will be ES upon EP? ES upon EP will be inverse of this. ES upon EP would be inverse of this. So ES upon EP is equal to 1 upon 1000. Okay. So with the help of this third step, we will be able to calculate what will be the value of this ES upon EP, which we had determined as 1 upon 1000 from the value of F2 as well as the value of H upon A as an example. Okay. So after having been calculated the value of this ES upon EP, you can just calculate what will be the value of EP. For example, I told you that if for example ES upon EP value happen to be around say 1 upon 1000, which means EP is equal to 1000 times of ES. What does it indicate? EP is equal to 1000 times of ES. What does it indicate? Young's modulus of elasticity of the pavement is equal to 1000 times that of Young's modulus of elasticity of the soil subgrade. You know that always in the two layer system, let us assume this one as soil subgrade and this one as base course. In the two layer system, Young's modulus of elasticity of this pavement will be always greater than Young's modulus of elasticity of the soil subgrade. That's why EP is equal to 1000 times of ES. We had obtained it from the graph. And in the step number 5, very important, as we have gone through the determination of the value of F2 from the previous steps, this value of F2 was been obtained from the plate load test that was been conducted over the base course for the definite thickness of this base course of height h. But now we are trying to consider this base course is subjected to the wheel load, not a plate load. Here it is going to be subjected to a wheel load. Actually in practice all the flexible pavements that are constructed over the base course, will be having the wheel loads that are coming over it, not the plate load. So for that, actually the value of F2 has to be determined. This value of F2 is totally different than the value of the F2 which we have determined for the plate load test, that is existing over the base course. This is for what? For the flexible plate, and this is for what? This is for the rigid plate over the base course, and this is a flexible plate over the base course. So if it is for the flexible plate, we have to make use of the expression for determination of this delta for the flexible plate, as we know that it can be calculated by the expression delta is equal to 1.5 Pa divided by Es into F2. So from this we need to calculate the value of F2, that is called as the deflection factor. F2 is nothing but the deflection factor, could be obtained by just modification of this expression delta into Es divided by 1.5 into Pa, where I just told you in the previous slide itself, for the deflection delta in the flexible plate, the A value or the explicit form of A will be called as radius of contact area, but whereas the value of A or the explicit form of A in the rigid plate could be called as radius of the plate. Here it is called as radius of the contact area of what? Wheel load that is going to be acting over the base course. Okay, so this wheel load will have certain pressure, contact pressure, and this will also have certain deflection delta, and also from this expression you can easily calculate what will be the deflection factor F2. So from the step number 5 we have calculated or known the value of this deflection factor F2 for the flexible plate, which is totally different than that which we have calculated in the step number 2 with the help of the rigid plate formula. So in the step number 6, after having been calculated the value of the F2 with the help of flexible plate, we are going to also have the value of the Es upon EP, which we have determined from the step number 4. By knowing the value of F2 from step number 5 and by knowing the value of Es upon EP from the step number 4, we will be calculating the new value of H upon A using the graph. So by referring to this graph, as I told you, by knowing the values of Es upon EP, just want to clear this. By knowing the values of Es upon EP and by knowing the values of F2, let us suppose the value of F2 happen to be somewhere at point 2 and it is going to cut this curve at Es upon EP as 1 upon 50. As I told you, these are the curves that are representing EP upon Es. As we need Es upon EP, this is going to be represented as Es upon EP is equal to 1 upon 50. So this is going to be cutting the H upon A somewhere here. Let us assume this one as 1.8. Just for an example, the value of H upon A, which we are going to get it in the step number 6 as 1.6. From that we'll be able to calculate what will be the thickness of the pavement or the soil subgrade, just by simply having the cross multiplication of H is equal to 1.6 multiplied by A, where A happen to be the radius of the contact area. Radius of the contact area for what plate? Flexible plate. So there is an important note for remembering. For rigid plate, the value of A has to be assumed as 15 centimeter, and for the flexible plate, A value has to be calculated from the radius of the contact area. So how are you going to find out the value of A here? We know that pressure is given by what? Force upon area. So what is area in turn? Area of the contact is equal to pressure force divided by contact pressure. So this P can be also called as a load upon area. The pressure is considered to be a load upon area. Okay, area is equal to load upon pressure. Okay, now after having been calculated load upon pressure, this area can be represented as pi into a square. So whatever the value you are going to get it, you are going to do the square root of that value divided by pi. You are going to get the value of a. So what I told you, a is going to be calculated by square root of what? This value divided by pi. Why? Because you know that. Once again I would like to show you the calculation what for the a has to be calculated separately if it has not been given the problem. Let us assume this to be, suppose a has to be determined. What is the value of a, which is nothing but the radius of a contact area for the flexible plate. So we know that from the expression of pressure, contact pressure, which is nothing but the load upon area, where the area is equal to load upon contact pressure. Whatever the load that is existing over the pavement surface has to be taken in the numerator. Contact pressure is known to us, so that is going to give us the area. This value is equal to the area of the circle, because we are trying to consider the loaded area in the form of a circular shape. It is going to be given by pi a square or pi r square. So therefore a is equal to square root of this value divided by pi. So this will give you the radius of the contact surface, which is going to be used for substitution for determination of the thickness of pavement or the soil subgrade. So with the help of these important 6 steps, we are trying to solve one simple problem. By following all these steps, we are going to get the results. Let us see how it has to be done in the next video.